Hello everybody and welcome to part 19 of What If Midoriya Had the Omnitrix. If you haven't seen the previous parts or My Hero Multiversity, since that plays a big role going forward, I suggest you do so to know everything that's going on. Link to those two in the description below and the annotation above. If you happen to enjoy this series, please hit that like button since it shows how much you guys want more of this, and I will make more according to how many likes it gets. Now let's get started, shall we? Previously, Midoriya was recruited by Paradox to help stop a coming crisis brought on by Eon and All For One. In the ensuing conflict with the group the two villains had amassed, Midoriya fought both Albedo, who got away, and Mappin, whose Omnitrix Midoriya took. Now, a portal opens 2 minutes after Midoriya left, in the same place where Midoriya was, training. Midoriya says, "Wow, that was crazy," as he steps out, and then goes back to the dorms for the night. While on the way to his room, he runs into Bakugo. Bakugo asks, "What's that stupid look on your face, damn nerd?" Izuku says, "It's nothing." Bakugo asks, "You weren't training, were you? You were on one of your weird alien adventures, weren't you?" Midoriya, half-mindedly and tired, says, "Yes." Bakugo says, "Well, I don't really care, but how was it?" Midoriya looks at his hand with the Omnitrix and, a bit conflicted, says, "It was alright." For a moment there, I became a god. Bakugo, weirded out a bit, walks away and says, "Forget I asked, your adventures are always so fucking weird, Deku." Midoriya then goes to his room, putting the Omnitrix, the spare one he got from Mad Ben, into a safe box for safekeeping, and then he goes to sleep. The next day arrives, and it's the weekend. Midoriya wakes up rested and having processed most of the information he just received. In the common area of the dorms, Kaminari, while brushing his teeth, says, "The whole day off, huh?" Mineta says, "Yeah. After all the exams and special training, we can finally take it easy for once." They see a green flash of lights, and Midoriya's Fasttrack runs through the living room, saying, "Morning! On the way to meet Mirio," passing Bakugo on the way, who is going to his provisional license training. An hour after meeting Mirio, Midoriya and Mirio arrive at Nightaye's agency. Mirio says, "Well, this is it, Sir Nighteye's agency." Midoriya looks extremely nervous and stiff. Mirio says, "Easy, man. Take a breath. Try to loosen up. But not too loose, you know? 'Cause Sir is actually a pretty strict guy." Midoriya says, "I'm aware. He's a hero famous for being demanding on others as well as himself. His gaze is so harsh that it makes me shiver every time I see him on TV." Mirio says, "That's absolutely true, but there's a totally different side to him that the press never gets to see. If you want to be acknowledged by him, here's a tip. You need to do one important thing on this meeting. You got to make him laugh. Then he'll totally approve of you." Midoriya asks, "Wait, hold on. What does that mean?" As he enters the building, Mirio says, "Exactly what it sounds like. He seems stern, but he really values humor for some reason. It's like irony or something. I think the most I can do is introduce you to him. Sir is the one who decides if he can really use you. Although with an introduction from All Might, I'm sure things will go smoothly. Wish I could do more though. From here on, you have to make sure I acknowledge you yourself." Midoriya says, "It's a great help that you're doing this in the first place. Thank you so much." They reach the door and Mirio points at it and says, "Here we are. He's just beyond this door. If you want to get stronger, then walk on through." Determined, Midoriya says, "Got it," and goes to open the door, seeing Nighteye tickling Bubble Girl for not making him laugh. Midoriya, surprised, asks, "What kind of place is this?" Nighteye says, "See, this is how loud and energetic you can be." Midoriya turns to Mirio and asks him, "Mirio, what's going on?" Mirio answers, "That's his sidekick, Bubble Girl. I guess she didn't make him laugh. Sucks." Nighteye stares intensely at Midoriya, making him nervous. In response, Midoriya makes an All Might face and says, "My name is Izuku Midoriya." Nighteye intensely says, "What is this, boy? Are you ridiculing All Might?" Midoriya stumbles back and says, "No, I guess not." Nighteye walks towards Midoriya and says, "You attempted this blasphemous excuse of an impression of All Might in front of All Might's former sidekick?" Nighteye starts examining Midoriya's face. He continues explaining, "All Might's wrinklers aren't like this at all. You fool. In his early days, his Crow's feet were 0.6 centimeters long. From the Silver Age on, they were 0.8. These days, even unlicensed merchandise manages to have the correct wrinkles in the correct era. But you don't even know that much?" Midoriya notices that the room is filled with All Might memorabilia and realizes how big of a fanboy Nighteye really is. Nighteye says, "I don't care for this one bit. You can see yourself out." Midoriya says, "The Vinegar River incident. Are you not aware of it, sir? A middle schooler whose quirk who allowed him to change the properties of water was drowning in a river. But All Might stepped in and saved him. The panicking kid panicked and accidentally turned the river into vinegar, which obviously ended up in All Might's eyes. His face looked slightly different from normal after. That smile and those narrow eyes, that's the look I chose to impersonate." Nighteye says, "I know the rescue, although it took place before I teamed up with him, and I believe they covered it briefly in the television special entitled A Look Back." Midoriya says, "Yes, I love that show. I know that there weren't any villains involved, so many people will believe it was a very boring save. I'm sure that's why the fans don't talk about it much. But I really like it for some reason. Honestly, I think the best part of the whole thing is the weird response he gave after being thanked by the kid he just rescued." Nai says, "I'm the one who should be thanking you. My skin feels 10 years younger." Midoriya says, "That's it! It was the perfect one-liner." Nai says, "Now I see. You were testing me." Midoriya says, "What? No! It's just since All Might's a teacher at my school, I never get the chance to geek out about him. I might have gotten excited." Naya says, "As I recall, it turned out the child's volatile home life was to blame." Midoriya says, "That's right, and that made All Might's actions and words carry even more weight, I bet." Mirio grabs Bubble Girl out of the machine and walks away. After a bit more of discussing All Might's exploits, Naya sits down, telling Midoriya to take a seat himself. Naya says, You want a work study here? Because you think that doing so will make you a better hero." Midoriya says, "Yes, sir. Please let me." Naya says, "We would need to draw up a contract." Midoriya pulls out the contract while saying, "Yes, sir, I brought one." Naya says, "You will not interrupt me while I'm speaking to you." Midoriya says, "Sorry, sir." Naya says, "Once I stamp this document, you'll officially be contracted with my agency for a work study." Midoriya says, "Yes, sir." Naya says, You understand this will be nothing like the week-long internships that you students take on so casually. You must work here for a minimum of 4 months and will be paid wages. However, your academics responsibilities will suffer due to absences you rack up, which means your classmates will pull ahead of you." Midoriya says, "I understand. The thing is, if I worry too much about what everyone else is doing, I'll never be in number 1. And if I don't get better at this, then I'll never be able to save everyone I want to protect." Naya goes to stamp the paper, but misses on purpose. Midoriya says, You missed." Naya says, "Because I'm not approving this. I understand how working here will benefit you, but how will it benefit my agency? This office currently runs smoothly with 2 sidekicks and 1 work-study student already under my employ. So why would I add you on? How can you contribute to society? How can you be useful to others? In order to be acknowledged, you must be able to answer those questions unequivocally. All Might showed his worth using power and humor. He brought hope to people who lived in fear. That's why people were so happy to acknowledge him, and Muriel will do the same once he graduates from UA. You need to tell me this using actions, not words. 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to try to take the seal from me. If you want to work as a hero under my guidance, then stamp the contract yourself. Midoriya surprised says, wait, what? Naya says, I'm saying that I'm giving you a chance. Only because All Might recommended you. Nighteye turns to Bubblegirl and Miriam and says, the two of you leave now. Both of them say, yes, sir. Then Nighteye says, once more with feeling. And they say, yes, sir! Nighteye says, I'll take no offensive measures during this time, and you are welcome to attack me in any manner you desire. Don't concern yourself with what happens to the room. Just come and get it. Midoriya thinks Night-Eye's quirk is, no, I have no time to strategize. If I overwhelm him with speed, then I'll win. I need the Kinaceleran. Midoriya opens the Omnitrix and turns into Accelerate. Night-Eye says, so, that's your plan. You want to overwhelm me with speed. Midoriya runs in, trying to steal the stamp. He thinks, if I go faster than he can think, I'll take the stamp. He runs, trying to steal the stamp, but Night-Eye moves the arm out of the way. Midoriya tries it a couple more times, but keeps failing. Midoriya says, if I can't do it with speed, then numbers will do the trick. He switches to Echo Echo and runs towards Night-Eye, surrounding him. Night-Eye says, interesting, your quirk is as versatile as All Might says, but you'll still fail this exercise. Midoriya multiplies, surrounding Night-Eye, and trying to jump onto him. He jumps out of, but Night-Eye just jumps out of the way. Midoriya regroups, turning back into himself. Midoriya thinks, he's good, his quirk allows him to predict every single one of my moves, meaning there is no way I can catch him. I could try the big ones, but they'll wreck the whole building and part of the city, so that's not really a chance I'm willing to take. Night-Eye says, do you really have time to strategize? You only have 2 minutes left. Midoriya turns into forearms and starts trying to grab the stamp using the forearms to his advantage, but he keeps failing to steal a stamp. Night-Eye says as he evades another attack, you really need to come up with a new strategy. 1 minute 32 seconds left. Midoriya turns into himself and thinks, I'll have to try one of the new ones. He hits the Omnitrix using the randomizer and turns into clockwork. Midoriya says, cool. Suddenly, Night-Eye's eyes go wide as he can no longer see one future, instead seeing over 15 different possibilities. Midoriya runs in. Night-Eye jumps out of the way. Midoriya, however, reaches out, grabbing his leg. Night-Eye thinks, I didn't see this as a possibility. Night-Eye falls to the ground, and Midoriya, using Clockwork's powers, accelerates time for himself, grabbing the stamp before Night-Eye can do anything. Night-Eye asks, how did you do that? Midoriya turns back into himself and says, do what? Night-Eye says, I saw so many different possibilities. How? Midoriya shrugs, not really knowing what he's talking about. Night-Eye gets up and says, regardless, you managed to pass. Welcome to the Night-Eye Agency. All Might was right about you. You're special. You may prove useful. And Midoriya smiles at this. The next day quickly arrives, the first day of Midoriya's work study. Night-Eye says, today we will be doing patrols and surveillance. We'll split up into 2 teams. I'll be out with Bubble Girl and Muriel with Midoriya. Midoriya asks, surveillance? Bubble Girl explains, Night-Eye Agency is conducting an investigation. Night-Eye says, Shiei Hazaikai, an organization and crime syndicate. He shows a picture and continues, that's Kai Chizaki. As the young head of the group, he is the second in command, and he's been behaving strangely lately. That plague mask is his trademark. Midoriya says, creepy. I thought there wasn't much trouble with organized crime these days, since the police know who they are and monitor their movements. Bubble Girl says, it's been that way since the big group split up, but this Chizaki guy started to gather them together, but we don't know why. The details are unclear, but we do know he made contact with the League of Villains recently. Midoriya exclaims, the League of Villains? Naya says, unfortunately, we don't have anything linking him to any crime actively yet. Hazaki operates in a legal gray area that's close to black. We can't treat them like villains. Our objective is to tail them and find out exactly what their group may be up to. Be careful not to arouse any suspicion. And the three of them say, yes, sir. Midoriya and Muriel then go on patrol together. A couple of minutes pass since it starts, and Midoriya says, this is super nerve-wracking. Muriel says, what gives? You went out on patrol during your internships, didn't you? Though I guess I don't blame you for being shaky after what went down. Midoriya says, oh well, I didn't actually get to go on patrol. Missed out on a lot of learning the basics too. Muriel says, didn't you take down the hero killer and help All Might defeat All for One? Midoriya answers, yeah, but that's just combat. The hero killer, I was just in Hosu when it happened and wanted to save my friend, and with All Might, it's also a different story. Muriel says, huh. Don't you worry, Sir and Bubble are the ones who are actually watching the target today, so I can teach you all about patrol duty. We'll get you up to snuff. Just watch and learn, my friend. Midoriya says, right. Miro hits his forehead and says, hey, forgot something. Our hero names. We should know each other's, right? Midoriya says, oh, right, totally. I'm the Omni hero Deku. Miro says, Deku? Like Deck? That's weird. Midoriya says, I like it. Miro says, okay. Well, I'm Lemillion. For the number of people I'll save, I want to help as many people as I can, starting with 1,000,000. When we put on our costumes and start hitting the streets, that's when we become heroes, so don't let your guard down, Deku. Midoriya says, got it, Lemillion. Midoriya thinks, this is honestly a bit underwhelming compared to what I just went through. Wonder if anything interesting is going to happen. Midoriya says, come on, let's get back to it. And then they both start walking. They pass by an alleyway, and out of it jumps a little girl, bumping into Midoriya and falling to the ground. Midoriya kneels down, reaching out for the girl to help her up. And Midoriya says, oh, I'm sorry, you took a tumble. Midoriya reaches out as the girl flinches when he grabs her. Midoriya asks, are you okay? Can I help you up? He grabs her by the arms and helps her up a bit. Midoriya notices that she is trembling and asks himself, why is she trembling? Kaichizaki comes out of the alleyway and says, you should be more careful. We don't want to cause trouble for the heroes. Midoriya looks at Chizaki with a look of fear in her eyes. And Midoriya looks at Chizaki with a look of fear in his eyes. Chizaki says, I hope you'll forgive my daughter, hero. I don't know what to do with her. Always bumping into things. Midoriya thinks Kaichizaki from Chie Hasaikai, the man Nighteye is after. Miro walks up to Midoriya and says, what's keeping you, partner? He turns to Chizaki and says, I'm sorry about that. It was our fault too. Midoriya thinks, I'm an idiot. If I let him see how freaked out I am, he'll get suspicious, and that can screw up Night Eye's entire operation. Midoriya says, hey, I know that mask. Miro says, hey, I know that mask. You must be from Hasaikai, right? You guys are famous around here. Chizaki says, yeah, people don't, please don't mind the mask. It keeps out the filth. I don't think I've seen you two in the area before. Miro says, right, well, we're still pretty new, but you probably already guessed that much. Now, on your feet, partner. Can't do much hearing from down there. Chizaki asks, so what agency do you belong to? Miro says, we're only students. Far too lowly to be claiming association with any agency. We're just using our internships to gain some experience. Speaking of which, we need to finish patrolling this division by lunch. Come on, let's go. Midoriya says, right. and he goes to leave, but Eri grabs onto Midoriya's jacket, not letting him get away. She whispers, please don't let go. Midoriya says, excuse me? I'm sorry, but your daughter seems scared. Chisaki says, a reaction from being scolded. Midoriya thinks, what's the best course of action here? What should I do? He's obviously dangerous. I could get the girl out of harm's way in seconds, but what about Mirio? Where would that leave him? Or all the other civilians in the area for that matter? Mirio says, sure. Midoriya says, wait, but she's got bandages all over. Those aren't just from playing rough. Chisaki says, Eri's an extremely clumsy girl. Midoriya says, her whole body is shaking, but she isn't making a sound. Does that seem like it's normal to you? Chisaki says, it's dangerous to make assumptions about what's normal to other people. Mirio says, yeah, everyone's different, am I right? Midoriya turns into Graymatter and calculates the best course of action. Chisaki says, that's not normal. What was that? As Midoriya turns back. Midoriya says, it's dangerous to make assumptions about what's normal to other people. Anyway, we should get going. As my partner said, we have to finish patrolling this division soon. Midoriya gets up to leave, but Eri holds on tightly, and Midoriya lets her go gently, putting her on the ground, and he says, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. As he smiles, Eri reluctantly returns to Chisaki, and they go back to base. Midoriya and Mirio walk away in the opposite direction, and Midoriya says, we need to call Nighteye. Meanwhile, in another location overseas, Ben Tennyson, an agent of the plumbers, currently stationed on Earth, enters some weird-looking cornfields. He's investigating some disappearances and some weird reports that he got over there. He walks through the area, the field, spotting a weird-looking weather tower. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving it off for today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. As always, if you did, please make sure to hit that like button, showing me that you want more. The next part will come out when this video gets like 50 likes. I'll start making and preparing it. I think it's possible for you guys to get this much. I don't want to force you to do anything. I love the series, but at the same point and at the same time, there are many other things I want to start making, so I'm moving away from my rigid schedule and starting to do like a bit of a random-ish schedule. They're still the same days, but it's random what I post. Well, if you have any suggestions, as always, please let me know in the comments below, or in my Discord server, which I have, link in the description, where you can chat. I asked for your guys' feedback and stuff, and yeah. Until next time, everyone, have a nice day. Bye!